afternoon and welcome to On the Spot Motorsports Media. I'm your host, Mitchell Gunter. Hey, Robert Simpson will be joining us shortly, and so will Shawn Reed. That's right, we got Shawn Reed coming on, the pro winner of the Superstar Shootout that took place down in Bradenton not too long ago, and he is getting ready for the Gator Nationals here in 2 weeks. So we have a few messages, and we'll be right back after them.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
Hey, Shawn, I want to thank you for joining our podcast tonight. First of all, congratulations on your big win down in Bradenton. I tell you what, it's probably been like a whirlwind since that took place. You've probably been really busy getting asked to be on everybody's podcast here lately.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. It's been a whirlwind, but it's been a pretty cool ride. It kind of digs at you, so you just keep doing it, man. It's just you can't describe the feeling you get for winning and seeing your team so happy, and all the hard work does pay off. It just takes a while.
Absolutely.
And I tell you, that was not a easy field to go through to make the final and to face Josh Hart. Looking back at 2024, I know Josh wasn't where he actually wanted to be, and I know you probably would like to be a little higher than that. What kind of momentum do you think this is going to help you gain headed into the Gator Nationals?
Well, I get asked that question a lot, and I can sum it up into perspective pretty quick. I'd like to finish a little higher than I did, and I'm sure Josh would too. But when you look at the people in front of you, the Tony Stewarts and Brittany Forces and Antron Browns and both the Cliticars and Justin Ashley. I mean, it's not like you bought a car and a truck and trailer and you think you're going to go out there and be top five. I mean, it takes a lot of work, and these guys and these girls are dang good, right? So we just got to do what we can do to kind of keep up with them, and racing's a lot of luck, and you got to I always put it in perspective, like the Dallas Cowboys, they can go out and buy all the star players, but they don't win. And the New York Yankees can go out and buy all the star players, but they don't win. It's not only about having the best parts, the best pieces. You got to be able to come together and gel together and make it all work. And you got to win as a team and lose as a team. And, you point fingers, you do this, you rub people wrong, and people don't like it. So, and I'm the king of that. I can rub some people wrong real quick, but we've managed to keep it all together. And that's kind of what I said to the guys after Bradenton. It's like, man, it's just we had a lot of bad luck last year. Losing by a couple of feet. Eight times and almost 8 times in a row, and we need to flip that thing, and we need to learn how to win, and we need to remember what it's like, and move forward to keep trying to hit that goal.
Well, y'all definitely found something during the off season. Y'all really did, and I want to share this picture because this picture right here just shows what it felt like at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
It was party time.
Yeah.
Yeah. that car was the first time ever I'd seen a winter circle, and that car had to be stripped down. I mean, like every wire was taken off that car because there was champagne and beer and whiskey all over that thing. I mean, there was not in the seat had to come out. I mean, everything came off that car.
So if anybody would have walked up there and licked the car, they probably would have got drunk, right?
Oh, geez.
They licked enough. I mean, yeah, they were. You know, it takes a while to get through these winter circles, and because there was Jaggy was up there, Coffin was up there first, right, and then Ron Capps and us. I mean, we were pretty much tuned up by the time we got there, and then one of the best times, we get back, and they put it on jack stands, and Josh is trying to take the oil pan off, and he goes, I can't get it off, and the guy goes, but there's 3 nuts still on it, dude. I mean, everybody's just, trying to service the car and get everything torn out of there. I don't know. I don't even know how we got into this.
Actually, I can see you getting it back, jacking it up, and the whole car is still dripping. You're like, what is this? And everybody's like, yeah, we know what it is. He had a good time. But that the win that you just had at Bradenton goes to show the hard work that you and your team has put in. And like you said, I mean, you've had some tough times, but the middle to the end of last year, y'all really turned on with several top 5 qualifying, quarterfinal finishes, and several late round finishes. So it's showing that the hard work. Is it just something that was gelling in the team, or is it like y'all found a mechanical hang up and what you discovered is like, aha, and you went with that?
Yeah, I mean, when we first put the car together, this time last year, we went to Gainesville, a week early to try to test, and it rained all day. We got one pass in. I hadn't been in the car in 4 years. We got one test in, and then we're hitting the throttle for real. And every car has its own little personality, I think. Rob thinks. I mean, I think everybody thinks that. And we just didn't have, even though we're running pretty much the same as Antron Brown. You've got a technical alliance there, and there's just so many things that don't work the same. And we found some things, but it took us, 4 or 5 or 6 races to figure it out. I mean, I think, Rob was pushing a little hard. I was pushing a little hard. And when you push hard, then you have, if you're trying to cut an 070 light, you have a 120 light. I can tell you that right now. If you're sitting there thinking about your light, you're already late. And the first 6, 7 races, we were smoking tires every Sunday. But you got to remember, you qualify at 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Friday. You qualify at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, or 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Saturday, and then you go Sunday morning where it's all cool conditions. We don't have no tune-ups for Saturday morning. We're just guessing. And the Langdons and the Torrances and everybody else, they've been at all these tracks at 11 o'clock in the morning before. So that put us behind the game, really. And it just took us a while to get going, but it finally did mid-season, and it just kind of went from there,
Well, you look at those things. You can't check them off as failures. You have to check them off as you collecting data that will help you at the next race, or when you go back to that track with similar conditions, what didn't work. So you can put in your checks and balances in there and make sure you don't repeat those same actions. So even though it may look bad, it's actually a good thing that will help you out further down the road.
Yeah, I believe that too. That's that's like I said. You just gotta go through the bumps and the trials and and all that stuff just to get to where you are. And you gotta Rob's great, man. I'll tell you what, Rob is a strong A personality, and I am too. So there's sometimes I walk into my own pit. I'm like, God, I hope I don't get fired. I'm like, wait, I own it. But there's sometimes I gotta leave because I know Rob's hunting me down. I'm telling you, he don't put up with too much stuff. But I like that. It's kind of like what Tony Stewart did with Bob Bodie. Bobby Bodie, right? When he threw his helmet down, he went and bought him a helmet. He likes that passion. Rob's just got a lot of passion for. He's smart. He's really smart, and he knows what's going on. And he's got a lot of passion to win, and he wants to do good. And the crew chiefs that talk to him and the drivers that kind of talk to me, it's like, yeah, it makes it all worth it. It's just like all the hard work. It just makes it all worth it when you get the attaboys and the accolades from your peers. And it's pretty dang cool.
Yeah. They know the hard work that you and your team put in, and they know what it takes to get where you got there. Yeah, so you've earned it. So that makes it even better.
When you're talking about all the different changes that you have to make to the car and stuff, I think one thing that's happened over the years is the fans are getting more educated on what actually goes on in the pits, and also right before y'all go up there to the staging. The stage the car with all the adjustments going out there, changing how the clutch is going to, engage as you're going down the track, which I think is a plus for the NHRA, allowing the access to the fans to come watch and listen to what's being said. They get a little bit of acknowledgement of what's going on, that they know that you just don't jump in the car and you mash the gas and go down the track. It's more complicated than that.
Whole lot.
Yeah, it really is. And I probably know more than what I lead on to know, but I really don't want to know, because if I think I know, then I'd probably try to save that salary I'm paying Rob and do it myself, and it would be a total disaster. I promise you. I could not get that. I could not get that car 100 feet off the start line. I promise you. It would either go up in smoke because I ain't got no power, or I'd blow the rods out of it real quick.
One or the other.
I have no knowledge of how to do that, and I don't really care to learn, because if I learned it, I'd probably try to do it.
You see, that's pretty wise, though. But I mean, you realize your limitations, and that's not it. I mean, you have many other things that you're really well at and worked hard at. And one of the things that they work with Rob is he takes care of the crew chief, and you take care of between the pipes. Now tell us something. How did you get your start in Top Fuel? Because you have a very, very interesting history in racing. Okay. I mean, you come from the drag boat racing world. Okay. And I don't know, you might've done some other drag racing before that, but tell us, how'd you get your start?
Yeah, I just, a buddy of mine said this, I had a jet boat my whole life, and up here at Lake Taps, probably about, 10 minutes south of Pacific Raceways, maybe 15 minutes. But, 2004, he said, let's go race your jet boat down in the Columbia Drag Boat Association down in Eugene, Oregon. And, we went down there and found out my boat wasn't quite good enough to be in that class, but we did a buyback, and I ended up winning the race. And I was hooked for racing from there on. I've never.
You're just like, you just end up winning the race, and just. Yeah.
I mean, it was it was the first round losers, so I was racing against 60 losers, by the way. But I
never look at it that way.
I was the best loser on that day. So, but it was pretty cool, because it's just kind of like this. Everybody likes to do and keep doing what they're good at. And I learned that day that, and I always knew that, I was always competitive. I was a slalom skier. I was a barefooter. I was, I'll race anybody on a lawnmower. It doesn't even matter. Winner has to pay the other guy $100. I'll still win, and I'll pay that guy $100. As long as I get my trophy and something that says I won. And racing, I always knew I could do it, but you got to be in the right place at the right time to actually be able to do it. And as if, my family, they weren't really, my dad was a truck driver, then dispatcher for a truck driver, then a snap-on tool dealer. My mom worked in a construction company, doing books. We didn't go to the races on the weekends. We didn't, do any of that stuff. Yeah. So when my buddy said, let's go racing, I said, yeah, let's go. And, kind of hooked from there. And then, of course, I wanted to go faster real quick. And so that's when I bought the Pro Mod, like 6 months later. And then in 2005 is really when my Pro Mod career, took off, running a quarter mile. And that was a 7-second, only pro class that's indexed. So that was a 7-second boat at about 175, 176. You could go slower. You could do whatever you want, just 7 seconds. So the way you gear them, the way you prop them, you could have a 165 mile an hour boat at 7 seconds. You could have a 190 mile an hour boat at 7 seconds. Mine worked out to about 175 or 176. And I ran that boat, in 2005, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the IHBA and the CDBA, a couple in the SDBA in Texas. And then, that's the boat. That's my buddy right there. We've been friends since kindergarten, man. If that boat's running down the track, he's with me. Steve Sparks, man. I live in his basement right now today up in Washington. When I'm only here about one week out of the month. So I didn't really keep my house up here. My business is here, so I live in his basement when I'm here, and we're just best of friends. But that's kind of how the drag boat stuff got started, and.
And you wasn't just a good racer at boats. You were a great racer. You won 5 International Hot Boat Association championships, and that is quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, I saw. So I'll clarify that a little bit. It was actually I won 2 IHBAs,
okay,
and then Lucas bought it. Oops. Oh, there you are.
You're still on.
Oh, yeah. My screensaver kicked on. I'm like, Lucas Oil bought the series from IHBA in 2000 into 2009, and then they made it a national series. So you had to go to Georgia and all this stuff. I'm from Seattle. I mean, that's a long trip, right? So I took 2010 off, and then rejoined in 2011, and then I won 4 more in Lucas from 11 to 18. I never only one time from 2005 to 2018. In the years that I raced, I finished 3rd once. So I was either champion or runner-up 12 or 13 years. They took 2 or 3 years off. And that was in a very competitive class. I mean, Pro Mod, we used to have, 16, 18, 20 boats show up all the time. And towards the end of it, they made another class, Pro Outlaw. They made it a little bit faster where, guys wanted to go try that out. But my boat was always set up for, 7 seconds. And that's what we ran, its whole career. And I still own that boat. And I'm probably gonna run that boat as a Pro Mod in Grove, Oklahoma, later on in the year. So sweet. And then I bought a fuel boat. So we're gonna try to run the fuel boat, and which I'm not allowed to drive, by the way. My wife says no. So I'm not gonna drive the fuel. And you know what? I really have. If I wasn't driving a fuel car, I'd probably get in a fuel boat. But the car is, the car's where my love is now. And I graduated from the boat to the car, and every stepping stone I've ever done, I don't look back. Although I do like it when I get in my little Pro Mod and I go out and I race, and everybody goes, "Oh man, that's Shawn Reed." They get such a kick out of kicking my butt. And I get a kick out of them kicking my butt because they're so happy and I don't care. It's fun.
Right.
So,
now, is it a top fuel hydro you're putting it together, or do they have like a top fuel flat bottom? I don't know how that works.
Top fuel hydro. Yep, top fuel hydro. They're running. They get a little. In boat racing, they get a little rolling start, but this boat's capable of going real fast. I mean, 330, 3.3, 3.4 seconds at 275. I mean, it's fast on the water. So
now. I've got to ask somebody that's drag raced on water, and you're the first person, so now I can ask. having watched drag boats, different kinds and all that stuff, whenever they come launching, when they're right, I say when they're right because I don't know the proper term. When they come launching out of the water, basically prop out of the water, boom, they set down. How do you keep them from porpoising? Because I see some of them, they're good, and all of a sudden they start porpoising, and I just don't know if there's actually anything you can do, or you just like pull the string and abort.
Well, in my class, in the hydro stuff, you're not going to get any porpoising really going on. You know, the porpoising will happen in any boat when they get to a point where they're they don't have where they run out of power. So when you're under acceleration, they're always accelerating, and like, think of it in a car. Like if you had a car that went 80 miles an hour and you hit the gas, you're right on the front end and you're planted and you're just going. Okay, but when that car starts to slow down because it has no power, then more weight comes on the front end and it starts to do that. Right? Same thing in a boat. You don't have that problem in a top fuel hydro because there's no lack of power, and even the pro mod, and even the 8 and 7 second boats, you really don't. It's the lower classes, that you would have that porpoise problem, and we never had that problem. We have all the power in the world.
How hard was it to juggle racing both the boats and jumping into a top fuel dragster? How difficult was it?
That's another story all on its own. So this is a pretty good story. So I've never even went to high school drags growing up. I've never seen an asphalt Christmas tree in my life. Okay, so I've always teased. When I was running boats, Todd Payton, he worked for Raceback. You guys know stuff now, Performance Data Systems, and that's where all of the big cars and teams get all their electronics from, as far as the data loggers and stuff like that. And finally we pulled the trigger in 2014, and I've never even seen a Christmas tree in my life, right? So I went to Frank Hawley's school in December of 2014, and I got my super comp license just so I could see the tree and how it reacts, how it comes down, and blah blah blah. And there was like 30 people in there, and we get in there, we all went around the room like, what have you driven? What's your plans? What do you want to do? And everybody's saying, I drove this, I drove that. I want to get into a pro stock car. I want to do this, and they got around to me, and I said, well, I drove a boat and I've never driven a car. I'm going to be back here in 4 months, drive a top fuel car to Gator Nationals, and they're all like, whoa, bullshit, whatever. They're doing all this stuff, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. They don't believe me. I don't think Frank Hawley believed me either. And then, so I got my license, no problem there. And then in January, I went down to West Palm and I got my top fuel license. In one weekend, by the way, and I went 7 laps. I think Antron signed for me and Doug Kalinda, but it wasn't easy. Okay, so there's some stories there, that like the first time I hit the gas, I'm just like, I don't think I want to come back in that car. Okay, because that's fast, and that wasn't a fast. I mean, at the end we were just trying to. We only had to run 4.5 seconds and quicker than 250, right? So fast forward to about the fourth run, maybe the fourth, but maybe the 5th run. I did 7 total. I got my license on the last one, the 7th one, but probably the 4th or 5th run. Barry Payton, Todd's dad. I love that guy. Love that guy. He passed away a couple years ago. I miss him. What a great guy. But he says, okay. He says, it looks like you can handle the thing. He says, let's go ahead and make a full pass. I'm like, okay, I'll give it out. And that track runs from the south to the north. And so, man, I mean, lights come, I do the burnout backup, everything's good. Lights come down, I take it off, and I'm like, that's sweet. So I get down there, pull the chutes, do all this stuff, and get towed back, and Barry walks up, the way it is, kind of walls up. He says, how'd you do? I'm like, I did pretty good. He goes, how far do you think you made it? I'm like, I don't know, since you're asking me, probably maybe 950, because you told me to go 1,000. I mean, since you're asking me, probably a little short. He goes, you went 437 feet. I'm like, I went 437 feet. He goes, yeah, we know everything you do. We got a wheel counter. Like, you went 437 feet. You're supposed to go 1,000. You thought you went 950. He goes, there's a problem. And I'm like, yeah, there is. He goes, well, why'd you lift? And I said, I thought for a second. I'm like, well, Mr. Payton, I thought I was in South Carolina. Okay, so I mean that's basically. I mean, I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I lifted because I was in South Carolina already. So, but yeah, it was fast. I mean, and it wasn't even set up to go fast, but the acceleration in the top fuel dragster is something nuts compared to a boat. I mean, the boats are fast and they can get there, but they don't have the acceleration like the car. And that's why I laugh. Like I spent 15 years in a 180 mile an hour drag boat, and I got buddies that, and I got in the car and I almost never got in it again. But I got buddies. Oh, I'd love to take a spin in that top fuel dragster. I'm like, dude, you wouldn't even get past the burnout. You could be trying in that car,
You're like, what have I gotten myself into? What have I gotten myself into?
Well, if just talking to several people that, just started running top fuel, take for instance, Tony Stewart, went from A fuel to top fuel. And he even, talked to me while he was testing out at Gainesville last year before he made his NHRA debut in top fuel. And he told me, he says, man, it is unreal. He says the difference in the alcohol car compared to nitro, when you take off, you feel like you're still sitting on the starting line. And he said, it is just amazing, the power of those cars.
Yeah, people are, it really is amazing. I mean, I tell you, it's not something we just say. I don't understand at all how you can roll through the water box, put a little bit of mist on your tires, crack the butterflies a quarter inch, and you can spin them suckers till you lift. And then you back up on the burnout and you flat foot that. And every time I flat foot it, I'm just like, oh geez, what did I do? And I don't have no idea how it goes down the track after you flat foot it. It's just amazing.
It's like an on-off switch, and that's literally it. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, and I know it's in the clutch, the centrifugalness of the clutch and all that stuff. But holy smokes, it's just crazy to think about them cars taking off.
Believe the magic. That's what it is. But I tell you something, coming from your racing boat background, did it in your mind, did it help you on the adjustment with a top fueler? Now, I know you said obviously the acceleration and the speed, but the fact that you got to handle a boat differently. I can't imagine racing a boat and in the way that it's floating and the way you have to, I say compensate, but I say try to keep ahead of it as much as you can. Because I've watched you several times driving your fuel car and it's moving around and you're on it. It's not like you're behind it, you're on it. So is there a lot of a mindset that helped you coming from the drag boats?
Well, what's really helped me from the drag boats is really just the, I mean, I probably hit the throttle on that drag boat 1,500 times. I've been in that seat where, there's a lot of people looking at you, in the competitive, in the competitiveness. I mean, if you're just hitting the throttle on a lake test, and you're not, it's easy. But when all eyes are on you, it gets a little bit more difficult. Like I gotta admit, you go back to that West Palm. I remember the very first pass. I did the burnout. I backed up. I looked up to the left. I saw Antoine Brown, John Force, and Doug Collin. And I'm like, get me out of here. Now, I was shaking. I was doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, stop. Stop. You've done this. This is nothing. Just do your thing. Don't worry about them, So the boat I promise you, for as competitive as I am and a fast speed freak as I am, I probably could have never done a top fuel car without spending 15 years in that boat. So that boat, even though the clocks, the track are way different, the boat you can, the boat you can steer early at 200 feet, and then you can put a wheel in it, and the boat will move a foot and a half in 800 feet. I mean, so in a boat, you are the football, and you got to go through them both. And the only way you can do that is early. And if the wind gets you, or you're just lined up crooked, because you got to hit the throttle when you hit the throttle. And the steering it early, that's like, because the runners are about 18 to 20 inches long, and when you blow the tail, which means get up on the step, the prop's half in and half out, and so there's only about 3.5 to 4 inches of rudder in the water after you blow the tail, which is about 300 feet. So after 300 feet, you can turn that whole thing sideways, that little rudder sideways, but you've only got like this much of it in there, so you can't steer it. And that's kind of like a fuel car. In you kind of feel like you're on a slick track. They say just keep it in the groove, you'll be fine. Well, that's easier said than done, because there's things that happen that push you out of the groove. Like a cylinder goes out, or you just screwed up. But for me, I either stay real straight or I drive it like a donkey. And I laugh when I do it, because I'm like I just told one of the runs down there, when it goes like, yeah, what'd you do? I'm like, well, I think we put a hole out at about just past half track. It drove me to the wall, and then I brought it back, but I brought it back dumb-like, and I drove it too far back, and I skipped across the groove and almost went into the other lane, and then pulled it back, and then I wobbled it all the way down the track. And I said, well, it's going to kill me. And he goes, yeah, that's what you did. So, and it just, once it starts going, it just kind of keeps going, and it's hard to stop it. It's like a pendulum, you can't really stop it that easy. So you see Antron, you see all the guys, and it's one thing when you're running 375, 378, 380. When you get into the 60s, and I'm just getting there, right? I mean, I ran, a half dozen times in the 60s. But there's a whole different feeling with a 67 than a 73. That's 700s, 800s. It's a whole different feeling, and it puts so much downforce on the car, and it just changed the whole feel of the car.
That makes sense.
Yeah, crazy.
That's a good explanation right there. That is a really good explanation. I'm glad I asked that. I've been waiting a long time, Mitchell, to ask somebody that question. Sorry, Mitchell, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about last year. You did have some great things that happened. You had made your personal best ET. I think that was at Dallas. You ran a 367 with a 6. And best mile per hour happened at the finals. At 336.69 mile per hour. So those are some really great numbers. What kind of things are you looking on to capitalize this season as far as your personal best?
Yeah, I think I'm not a big mile an hour car. I mean, I think you meant to say 331.
Maybe it is 331. Yes, 331 to 69. Yes. Yeah,
367, 331. We don't, the mile an hour cars, we can leave them up to, the Grubby cars, the Grubnik and the Kalita cars. They want to run their big numbers. I know how they're doing it, but I don't, if when you're dumping timing in at the end of the track and you lose a hole, you lose a lot of blowers and a lot of stuff too. And I don't look over there. I mean, I don't look in this thing and go, man, I got Connie Kalita money in here, So, it's funny.
Let's wait to see what this does. You know what I mean?
But we emulate Antron and the way he does things, and with Brian Karate, and we're both proof that you can run these cars in a very competitive fashion and not blow things up. And I'm knocking on wood right now. I mean, we didn't put the rods out one time in 20 races last year, and that's where we had the luck. We had bad luck by losing by an inch to a foot a lot of times. But when it's attached to your wallet and a lot of other things that can go bad, I'll take it. And that's what we want to do is we want to win. We want to win the right way. Not saying that there's no bad way to win. I mean, I'll take any win, but
a win's a win.
I don't want to blow the rods out of the thing at 980 feet to get a win. I would rather lose that round and learn how to fix it.
Right.
So
right.
Because that's what's going to make it. That's what's going to make it. I mean, it's already too expensive, and there's just not enough. There's not enough sponsors to go around, and unless you're a John Force or a Tony Stewart, and you've been doing this stuff your whole life, and people will flock to you. And I'm not quite that lucky. I've made some good friends, and I've got a lot of people helping me out. But I don't got that many friends yet. I can tell you that. So we're trying.
So, for our viewers, how much does it usually cost to replace an engine on a Top Fuel?
Well, I mean, a complete engine pan to hat is probably around a little over $100,000 when you start talking about the the block, the crank. I just got 4 cranks. I'm looking at the invoice right there. I mean, 4 cranks was about $23,885. So they're about $6,000 a piece now. And then each crank could last anywhere from 1 run to 10 runs, and the cost is immense. But the blower, just from the blower, the spacer, the hat. I mean, with all the fuel rails and all the lines and all that stuff. I mean, they're 40, right. $50,000 just for the top 3 pieces. And then you got the block, the crank, the heads. I mean, the set of heads all set up, ready to go with fuel rails and all valves, springs. I mean, $14,000-$15,000 a set. And it's just it's crazy. I don't see, that's what depresses me. Why do you guys have to bring that up?
No, man, I was going to say, man, Top Fuel Hydro. You know what I mean? Detune it, pull it back about 70-80%. You know what I mean? Let it eat, and you'll probably get more than 1 to 10 runs out of the crank for sure.
Yeah, but that's only happening. That people don't really. I mean, you could break this thing into. The crew. A 9-man crew with insurance and stuff and hotels, and that's about $1 million a year. Just for the guys. And then you'd like to be down around $1 million or so with parts. So now you're at 2. And then you got to get the trucks around the country and the fuel, and you got to buy nitro, and the tire bills. $80,000 a year in tires. $80,000 for nitro, $150,000 for fuel, and you're $35,000 or $40,000 for insurance, for racetrack insurance, and all that stuff, and it just keeps adding up. And then $10,000 to SFI certify everything at the end of every year, and it's just it's on, and I'm definitely not complaining because I'm doing it, but it is true. And Josh Hart told me this. I told him, man, I think I'm gonna do my own thing. And tell me about it. What am I in for? He says, well, if you think you're gonna spend 2, you can spend 3. If you think you're gonna spend 1, you might as well just give it to your wife and have her go shopping, because it ain't happening.
Yeah.
Because I told him, I said, I think I can do this thing for about 2.3. He goes, well, you're gonna be closer to 3, maybe over. And then after I got all done, Josh says, what'd you spend? Like 3.5. Trying to tell you, trying to tell you.
Well, I'm kind of glad that you're, talking a little bit about it and how much that it actually costs to run one of these cars, because there's a lot of fans out there. They're always wondering, hey, how much does it really cost to run one of these teams? Well, you pretty much done a breakdown of everything to give them a good sense of if they want to do it and they got the pocketbook to do it. That's what they're going to look out spending.
Yeah. It's just you better just figure that $125,000 a weekend, and it can go up from there. I mean, blow ups and stuff, but and you don't see that. I mean, you don't see that 125,000 going away because you already come there with lots of parts, lots of heads, lots of valves, lots of springs, but so if you get 125 grand and you add up your expenses for the race and you still might have 85,000 or 80,000 left, right, after hotels and all that stuff. But trust me, that money's going out eventually in rebuying parts and pieces and fixing things and doing all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, since we were talking a little bit about money, share with us about your marketing partners that you have this year, and is there room for more? If someone's watching this and they've got a nice company, they want to be represented on your car. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first and foremost thing, I met Mark Beatty with Redline over at the PRI show before I even, I just started, getting the assets, putting the things in motion to buy a car, and I met Mark, and that man's done, he just texted me the other day, actually yesterday, and I said, man, I love you, man. I said, I will never leave Team Redline Oil. The things that you've done for me. It's kind of like the barber, how I got going. I mean, number one, I think it's the best oil out there. Not because they sponsor me. I first got my taste of Redline Oil back in the boats where Mark Beatty and Redline sponsored Eddie Knox and the Problem Child Top Fuel Hydro, and I'm okay. Yeah, and I used to go up and ask Eddie, I'm like, man, you think you can get me some Redline? He goes, no, not gonna happen. And I'm like, man, I just loved Redline even back then, and then so when I met Mark, I said, like, I'm just like, man, I'm doing this thing all out of pocket. I sure, I sure like to, use your oil, and anything you can do for me, it'd be great. And then, he was just going to give me the buddy deal on the oil, and then I got him a couple sit downs with some people that would do business with him, and whether he just liked me or whatever, but I think he's a stand-up guy, and I remember my first girlfriend, and I'll never forget the guy that gave me my first sponsorship in a race car either, and that's Mark Beatty and Redline Oil, and he's been pretty dang good. So you get the Redline Oil, you got Bradco. It's a company that gives us all of our air tanks and bottles, and they refill all this stuff for them. We got a lot of people like that. Matco Tools. Armstrong set me with that. We're getting, of course, we're not getting a bunch of money. We're getting product and tools, which I didn't have a crescent wrench and a screwdriver when I started this thing, 15 months ago, and now I've got $150,000 worth of tools that I probably paid $7,000 for, right? So that was a big help, and and stuff like that. So just we get a lot of good deals on parts and pieces, but not a lot of money yet. But we just did sign a little deal with Atro. It's a bushing company that builds bushings and suspension parts for big trucks and stuff. They're out of St. Louis, and Atro is coming aboard for 4 races in Phoenix, and they're just they're not primaries. They're just just helping us out a little bit. But you'll start hearing about them a little bit, and Phoenix and Pomona, and then Indy and Dallas towards the end of the year, and then with some definitely some room and already talking about adding a 5th and a 6th, and then actually we're going into next year already. So we inked the deal for 4 races for X amount of money, and so we know what's going on there. And then we're still not. I ran Jesse on my car in Vegas at Pomona last year. That is Eric Patino and Global Leadership Systems. And Eric Patino owns KV Titan, has all the pro stock cars. Dallas Glenn, Corey Reed. Eric Patino drives one, and his company sponsored me for 2 races last year, and we're doing some business together. And I still have that body, and he asked me. He goes, "You still got that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can put it on right now." And he goes, "I just hang on a little bit. I'm close. So we're usually on a teams meeting, once every 2 or 3 weeks, discussing how we can further that deal. Because once we put that on the car, his business and things just start happening. And so we have been talking about a 10-race schedule for him this year. It's not going to happen in the first quarter. But I'm looking for things to. I'm really anxious to maybe do a 10-race deal with him, which would help me a bunch, it would help him a bunch, and we'll go from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of things going on, man, and you're always constantly trying to find always trying to find help, that's for sure. But I think that I see that homegrown son, huh?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
No reason to win. Who are the 3 racers you expected to contend with this year for a title? I'll answer that in a minute. But
I like his positiveness. I like that.
Yeah, we're definitely always looking for more partners. And I think the day of getting one guy on your car like Peak and Monster, like these and Matco tools and Snap-on tools, RL carriers. I mean, they were pretty few and far between. And you take a guy who's the best of the best in motorsports, and that's Tony Stewart. He probably has 10 or 12 different bodies on that dang car every year, and that's really there's nine ways to skin a cat. At the end of the day, the cat's skin. Who cares how you got there? And
right.
And I frankly don't care either. I'm just trying to I look at it even differently, man. I love it so much. I guess I'm so new at it. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I doubt it. But I'm not trying to make money. If you've got into racing to try to make money, you're an idiot. Okay, Shawn fell into it because he just fell into it. The guys that are racing for so long, they're great. I mean, they're the founders of this stuff. That's awesome. But this day and age, you're not. Shawn Reed's not going to go out and get some company to give him $3.5 million. I mean, that's the goal. Bring in 4, spend 3, making money. It's a legitimate business. But that's not going to happen. But anyway, to get back to that guy's question. So with 3 drivers, there's so many of them. But first of all, I'm going to say Antron Brown. I mean, the guy's been a mentor to me. We go, practice the tree in his trailer, and he calms me down. He tells me what to expect, and smooths things out when I'm being a dum-dum. He's when I ran him first round of Bradenton. I'm thinking, oh God, how do I get this guy? And just because I'm sitting in my car, I'm thinking, what can I do to make this guy nervous? Nothing. So get over it. Just do your job and just follow they fall, right? And, he ended up smoking the tires, and really, I'll tell you what. I mean, again, it takes luck to win one of these things, and that might have been my lucky one of the day, because remember he came down with a brand new car like we did too, and he blew the tire off his and it hurt the chassis, and he had to go to his backup, and they got one run on that dang thing. They got one run on that dang thing Thursday night on the backup car, which he did run last year. But it's still different when you roll that thing out of the trailer and that track hasn't gone, that car hasn't gone down that track. So, and then when they went out and they went 64 on Thursday, on Friday night, we're like, they let the cat out of the bag. They're like, we're like, how'd you do that? And they're like, I don't know. So they must have had something messed up in the flows or something. I don't know, but
they figure something out.
Yeah. I'm like 64. Holy crap, man! Number one qualifier, and then I get him on a chip draw. I'm like, how do you do that, But there was nobody good to pick from, So, but anyway, so you got Antron Brown. He's gonna contend in everything he does, and my three would be Antron, Shawn Langdon. I don't know how mine and Shawn Langdon's relationship really is. I mean, one day he seems all right with me. The other day, I can't judge him. I just whatever. But I mean, the Red Badger beat me 4 times, but I told him about 6 feet. So I'm going to kick his ass this year, so he can just get in line and fight me. I'm coming. Okay?
There you go.
I'm not taking anything away from Langdon, but I'm so tired of losing to him. There's not one guy I want to beat worse out there right now than probably Shawn Langdon. Okay, so
okay.
Because they say, oh, here comes the Shawn show, and somebody says, Shawn who? And I know who they're talking about. They're talking about this Shawn who, and I'm tired of being the Shawn who. So
right.
We're gonna try to do something a little bit different. And then you really got to go on to somebody like Doug Khalid. I don't even want to talk about him really because I mean I've always silently rooted for him. I mean he's been running for so long and never won a championship and been close and he finally did it and that was pretty cool, man. I mean
it was.
That was really cool. But, I mean Clay Milliken, I mean Justin Ashley, I mean, that's what they said on one podcast. They were like, how are you cutting them lights? I said, well, I got this neat thing. I got this neat device. Okay. When I'm running Justin Ashley, I got this neat device that I averaged like 085 last year, which really sucks. But I was really bad early in the year, got better towards the end to make it an 085 average, right? But I figured this. So I got this remote control device that picks up when Justin Ashley's foot goes down, which triggers my foot to go down. And since he's going to have an 039, I'm going to definitely have an 060. But it's all triggered by his foot, not mine. Okay? So, I think the 3 guys that I really would, Antron, Langdon, and Justin Ashley. But then there's just so much deep respect for, the Colitis and, the Brittany Force. I mean, heck, if you wanted the cat out of the bag, I had such a crush on Brittany Force for 25 years, man. And I'm like, I used to say, they're like, man, she kicked your ass. I said, yeah, but I got to look at the back end of a drag strip all the way down track. And that's pretty cool.
Your wife stop right there and listen to all this. I'm a shot on the other side of the computer, get ready to throw something at you. Go. That was our secret.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, I'll put three of these groups. Brittany, Jasmine Salinas, and now Ida. I mean, I'm like, man, I can hardly even talk to them girls without going, blah, 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 blah. I mean, they're so damn cute, and I'm just like, man, and then to think about what they really do, because I don't think it's easy driving a top fuel dragster. And then think about, you grow up like, girls don't do this and girls don't do that, and they're just as good as us, and they might even be better, to tell you the truth. There's not one driver out there. I don't think there's any full-time people out there that are not great, and
That was a long lead in right there. That was a long lead in.
I was watching Robert read it. He's like,
I know it. Shawn was too.
Yeah, you're talking about Langdon, bro. You're talking about me. But you know, it's an art. It's really an art to cut these lights. I mean, I'm telling you that. Like I'm just now after a season getting comfortable with the car. I mean, you need to for you to cut a good light in a top field dragster, you need to be able to start the car up, go through the water box, hit the throttle, back it up in the groove, move forward, pre-stage the car, stage the car, bring your foot off, high side up, set your foot off. You need to be able to do all of that stuff without even thinking that you're doing that stuff.
Right.
Okay. And you're not gonna, get in the car and not think about doing that. So you got to get the routine so down to where that stuff comes second nature, and all you're thinking about is one thing. And that's the hardest part. And that was the hardest part last year. Is like I'm just still worried about getting the damn thing in reverse without breaking the reverser. Now it just goes so much better and smoothly, and I don't have to think, which is naturally going to help. And then, like Wyndham said on one of his podcasts, it's like, you get the car running right, you get the confidence, and you don't want to be the guy that's the reason you lost. So everybody starts to step up their game, and it just kind of takes a hold, and everybody wants to just do their thing. And I'm telling you, Rob Wendland, Ryan, they don't have the time to go out there and deal with everybody. Every person on that team is there because they have a job to do, and they've been taught that job, and we find that job in the shop and in testing and stuff like that. But when it comes to qualifying a race day, we don't go, make sure that the valves and springs are put in properly. We just know they are, and we have to we got to trust in them guys, and so far it's been good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I got a question to ask you. What do you think about the NHRA now coming in and having NHRA TV live stream practice? So they're going to live stream practice on the 4th and the 5th for everybody to watch. What do you think about that deal? Do you think it's a great deal? Or do you all kind of want to try to keep some of those numbers quiet from the general public until race day?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with it. I think that there's a lot of stuff happening on testing that people aren't necessarily going to do. Look, Grubby can go out there and try to run 65 every time and smoke tires every time. Okay,
right.
Well, now he knows what not to do on race day. So there's a lot of ways to look at it, and there's I don't really think it really matters that way. I think most of the cars really do run the track, but there's not one of us that doesn't think about who's in the other lane, and that's what my goal is this year. Is I want people to go. This ain't gonna be easy. They got to do their job. I got to do mine. The crew chief's got to do theirs, and somebody's going to win by a foot, lose by a foot. That's what drag racing is, and that's what makes it great for the fans. Is the drag racing and how close it can be. That's what it was in Pro Mod in my boat. I'm telling you, you won or lost on the light every time, and that's really what it's coming down to with, I'd say, the top 12. I always say this, there's 12 or 13 cars on any given Sunday that can win, and then there's 4 or 5 more that can definitely ruin your day. So basically, the whole field anybody 16 can beat one, and you've seen it many times. Schumacher's the king of being number one and getting beat, though. Yeah, he got beat a lot at number one, and it's just, a lot of pressure either way around, So,
right.
I was number 2. I think I was number 2 I was number 2. I got beat first round, and just because you're 2 don't mean you got it easy. I mean,
Right.
I was number 13 and got landed at 4, lost. I was number 12 and got landed at 5 and lost. I was number 4 and got landed at 13. He kicked my butt. I mean, and the big teams, I say the big teams that do it all the time, they just kind of know where to go. They know how to get that sucker down the track. The hard part is when you're running somebody good, how much can you really back it up and still perform? Because if you back it up too much, it's not going to work right. And that's another thing that people don't understand is everybody thinks that, you smoke the tires, you just got too much power. It's actually opposite. Right. 99 times out of 100, you smoke the tires, it's because you don't have enough power. You got to have that power down ahead of the clutch. And if you don't have enough power, then the clutch comes in too quick. And there's always enough power when things are smoke tires. So really, most of the smoking of the tires is because you don't have enough power.
Yeah. Good to go a little bit too conservative.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the whole NHRA TV thing, I think it's a great idea. Just to hit back on it real quick, because I think fans that'll watch it, it draws more interest and say, shoot, you know what? Let's take that 2-hour, 3-hour drive and let's go to Gainesville and let's watch this happen. And the whole thing about Gainesville, I love it now because it's the first race of the season. I just love the idea of having all 4 pro classes represented at the first race of the year. I think hopefully that will continue on. That's the way I feel about it. I don't know how drivers feel about it, but I think it is the greatest place to start off.
Well, I think everybody's looking at ways to subsidize, losses. It gets harder and harder, it gets harder and harder to stay in business. It gets harder and harder to run businesses. It seems like the cost of doing business rises higher than the money you can bring in. I mean, that's the first thing we have meetings about every year. Is like, look, we got to do. I can promise you, we got to do minimum of $1 million more revenue to make the same amount of money every year. And so, 5 years down the road, I better be doing $5 or $6 million more to make the same amount of money as I did today. And so you got to find ways. You got to find ways to bring that stuff in, and I mean, I think the NHRA.TV is cool, man. I mean, my mom has an account, my friends have accounts, my uncle has accounts. I mean, I know probably 10, 11, 12 people right now off the top of my head that have accounts because I've got a Top Fuel dragster, and that's bringing in 12, 13, 1,400 bucks to NHRA and whoever else they're in it with, And if I'm doing it, then think about the followers of Tony Stewart and all these guys, and I think I really think it's a great model, because you think that, oh well, they're people are buying NHRA TV and they're not going to the racetrack. Well, let me tell you something. When Tony Stewart comes to the racetrack near you, no matter if you have NHRA TV or not, you're going to see Tony. So I think NHRA TV is about getting people to watch NHRA when you're not in your market, when you're not in a place where NHRA is. Okay,
right.
So I think it's great. I mean, if you get 5 million people over there, and you're racing in Bristol, Tennessee, just because all the people that got NHRA TV that live in Bristol, they're going to Bristol to watch the race if they're right. Race cars, and right. And they're using the people in Bristol are using NHRA.TV to keep up with what's going on with their favorite drivers or anything else when they're not in Bristol. So I think it's great. I think NHRA TV is awesome, and
one of those gentlemen that does a lot of the stuff behind the scenes with NHRA TV is Warren Evans, and I tell you, Warren does an excellent job of bringing coverage into people's living rooms. Really does. Yeah. So I wanted to give him a shout out, and I tell you what, if you looked at his schedule, you would be like, wow, because, he's doing divisional races all over the place and regional events. So
national events and everything. Warren has an extremely busy schedule, and he is excellent what he does. But now they got another person to tune in and watch, Mr. Excitement himself, Shawn Reed. I mean, coming off the win at Bristol, he got me saying Bristol, doggone. It's one of my favorite tracks. You know what I mean? Coming off your win at Bradenton over Josh Hart, when you came into sport, you were buddies and teammates with. And him being a Florida boy too. So that was good to see that. I mean, I can't say you're necessarily local, but since y'all got a good close tie and connection, and then all the different marketing partners that you're bringing on. I mean, from the construction world, big truck world, which runs right up the line with your business. Okay, bringing them into the drag racing arena, but also marketing partners with Redline Oil, who is also a marketing partner with On the Spot Motorsport Media. Had to give up Mark Beatty a plug, which is true. Mitchell and I both run their products way before they came on board, but also the fact that you worked with I want to say Geyser. I don't know if that's a proper way to Eric Latino's company, and how it ties in with your business and being able to show that in a marketing way, which is great. You have so many different avenues to be able to present different companies and different businesses, which is good. It's great. But how can people get a hold of you when people want to sign and actually put their name on your car, truck, trailer, business, uniform, helmet, all this stuff? How do they get a hold of it?
Well, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, you can send, Shawn Reed Racing in Facebook, Instagram at @ShawnReed_TF. And really, you can just Google up Reed Trucking, little Tacoma, Washington. You probably get my phone probably ring right there. And that's what's great about the NHRA. We're pretty much available, all the time. And I know I want to be, but you can send an email to NHRA, and if that email said, "Man, I want to help that Shawn Reed guy out," I'm sure they'll find me, and they'll come to a race, hang out, and I mean, it's again, we're not. Don't be afraid to walk up and think, "Man, this guy's going to try to get 125 grand out of me." Man, the deal I just signed for 4 races, man. I mean, it's really relatively small, but it's they want to bring 5 or 6 people to the race, and you don't know what them 5 or 6 people do, what businesses they have, and things things just kind of go, and then really what we are in the NHRA, we're glorified performers, man. We're entertainers. We want to entertain, and we want to put on a good show for the fans and the people, and hopefully the businesses come back and they see a marketing potential, because that's really what it's about. And I never knew that for 50 years, and I wish I did, because I would have been here a lot sooner than I am. This really is about business to business relationships, and if you can take a company, and open door like Jesse, okay, Global Emission Systems. I mean, they're doing all the DPF filters on big trucks, and I'll give a plug from my family. We got 17 truck centers here, and I have nothing to do with them, but my cousin runs it, my uncle, and I got Jesse kind of started down the road with World Truck Centers, and that's how the initiative started. And it all takes time, and it's all coming together, but it's a slow process. And when that deal gets put together, it hopefully will open up more deals with Atro, and then the guy at Atro knows some people that rush truck centers, and it just kind of blossoms around with this business to business stuff. And if you really think about it, all this stuff is really quite simple. It is. If I told you that if you gave me $500,000 today, I guarantee you'd have $1 million. I'd give you $1 million 12 months from now. Well, anybody would do that, right? Right. So really, it's really about proving to people that you can get them set up with people that they might not have been set up with to begin with, right? And opening the door, you make the introduction, you open the door, they come in, and you get a benefit off the backside with with that. And that's really what the business stuff is on any form of motorsports.
Absolutely agree. It's all about I say business marketing, but it's building friendships.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you start from there, and then that way you're able to share your experiences with other people and possibly help open the door for them, and then down the road they'll help you in different ways. Sometimes you don't even know it's coming. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And it's all how you,
That's
like
right.
you said, I mean, how you treat people and work with people, and you work hard. Every person on your team, every person in your company, every person on your car, whatever like that, you're working hard to represent them as best as you can. Okay, bring them forward. Yeah, Mitchell?
Like earlier, you said something that's true, is to keep your ears open, and when someone asks you questions, you communicate with them, you let them know what's going on, because you never know who you're talking to.
That's right. You don't, and that's
the next marketing partner.
Yeah, it could be, and that's how I'm not the easiest guy at work here. I've got 35 guys running around, and I get in my bad moods, and I probably don't treat them as good sometimes, but it's not that I don't want to. It's just things get rough. This top fuel stuff is not for the faint of heart. I promise you. It's it'll man you up real quick, and people like me are probably a little bit jealous of the Shawn Langdons and J.R. Tobbs and the people that just get paid to drive a race car. They're good and they earn their money, but you think about the ironic part of all this is, and I don't know what they get paid, but they're getting paid X, and I'm paying 30 times X to do the same thing. Who's the smart one? It's going to be Langdon.
Right, but you got to say this. Something that you got that somebody else hasn't got is you got at least 5 world championships in a drag boat. How many people can actually say they go there and strap everything on, including the what is it, ballistic thermals? I'm trying to remember how somebody told me the underwear that you got to wear on a drag boat, to protect yourself. Go in there and strap yourself in it with nothing around you other than what's under the lid. Okay, grip it, rip it, pull it, and let it eat 170 something miles an hour, and got to make a decision at the other end. I know you're not looking over, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, that's a totally different world by itself, and exciting to know in. So I honestly don't know of anybody. You're the first person I've talked to that is actually crossed over. So I tip my hat to you. I mean, you got a bit of crazy in you too. You know that, right?
Yeah, I do. I admit it, man. I mean, I admit it, man. I admit it. But there's a something that you guys probably don't know is Antron won't get in my boat. He's like, no, man, brothers don't swim like
Smart
that.
Man. Smart man.
Yeah, and then there's another thing you don't know is there is a guy that currently drives a funny car that actually got in a pro mod boat one time back in Marble Falls, and I actually ran against him, and I kicked his ass. Matt Hagen.
Yeah.
Matt drove a boat.
No, it was a stunt dude. Matt Hagen went down to Marble Falls and he drove a pro mod boat owned by Randy Benson, and he drove it a couple times, and I believe I lined up against him one time in just like a test or a qualifying session, and
I just want to know how you got him in a boat. I mean, that's a big man.
They just
Poor man.
So, this is a quick story. I mean, I was coming back from Wheatland, Missouri, and I blew up my engine in my pickup. I mean, a brand new F-350, the rods fell out of it by Joplin, Missouri. And Randy Benson pulled in behind me. He's like, man, what happened? I'm like, I blew the engine up, and I was kind of standing over in the grass, and I had shorts on for 85 degrees, and I felt something in my leg, and it was the tall grass kind of hitting my calf and stuff. And I'm like, I keep on jumping around. He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? I'm like, man, I hate snakes. I'm a fear of snakes. I can't stand snakes. Blah blah blah. So 2 weeks later, we're down in Wheaton, Missouri. We're down in Marble Falls, Texas, and I go to get in the boat to warm it up, and there's all these rubber snakes and stuff hanging around and in my capsule, and I'm like, oh my God, this freaks me out. I can barely get through the warm up, So I get out and I take all these snakes out of my capsule. We're getting ready to go to the ramp, because you fire the boat up, you let it run like 20 seconds, the countdown clock comes down, and I pull the capsule lid down. I'm going for real. I pull the lid down, and a snake falls out right on my lip, right on my lap.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
I knew
it was fake, but it just didn't come across at that point like it was fake, And man, they got a kick out of that for a long time, man.
You came out of that boat at the end, didn't you? You came out of that capsule in the end.
No, I was out of the boat before we even came off the plane. I was unstrapped, capsule lid open, and I stepped out of the boat and onto the side of it, steering it like this, for the last 20 mile an hour. I was out of that boat.
Everybody was on the side thinking fire or something like that, and you're like, nope, snake. And they're like, okay, I get it, no problem. That's how it is with my wife. My wife gets around a snake, nears a snake, sees a snake, sees a poster of a snake, something's going to happen. Okay. And just keep a weapon away from her. So
if I see a snake or a spider or any insect, I'll be like, honey.
I got you covered.
Well, I'll tell you, Shawn, I really appreciate your time coming on tonight, and I definitely wish you the best at Gainesville, and we'll see you out there. We're going to stop by and see you in person and talk to you for a little bit, and maybe take a couple of photos and stuff, and hopefully by the end on Sunday, maybe I'll be writing an article about you winning your international.
It's easier said than done, that's for sure. But just like Bradenton, I didn't wake up Sunday morning thinking I was going to win. These wins they start and they just kind of flow, and then all of a sudden it happens. And that's why I'll never forget that one ever. I'll never forget it. And I definitely see more wins in my future. But if they don't come, it's not for lack of trying. My guys are gonna give it all, and I'm gonna get all the best parts out there. And it's just, again, you need a little bit of luck, and hopefully we get that this year.
Absolutely. Well, Shawn, once again, we thank you for taking time out of your crazy busy schedule for coming on our podcast and talking to us and sharing some great times and your experiences and stuff in your future. And like Mitchell said, we look forward to seeing you at the Gators, and we wish you and your family and your whole team nothing but the best.
I appreciate it, guys.
And safe travels.
And safe travels. You being in Washington right now taking care of work, you got to come all the way over here.
Yeah, rain all morning. It's nice now, though. It's looking good now. So. Okay.
We'll go ahead and do that. Just be careful. All right.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. And stop down there. I know we're going to test a little bit on Wednesday. I think we're going to run 2 or 3 times, and then media day on Thursday. But I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to hitting the gas again Friday night in Gainesville, man. It's going to be epic. It's going to be great.
You're going to love it, Shawn. Thank you very much, Shawn, and we wish you nothing but the best. And we hope you have a wonderful night.
Take care.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, guys.
Take care, buddy.
See you, buddy. Thank you.
And there you go, Shawn. I tell you what a great show. To dive also in and talk a little bit about drag racing boats, to talk, where he came from, working into running Top Fuel. Just a lot of great content to know more about Shawn Reed leading up to the Gator Nationals. And again, what a great way to start off your season, grabbing a win down there at the SCAG Power Equipment Pro Superstar Series. Hey, I got it right.
Yeah, you did. I had to write it down.
It's a mouthful. But to do that, and run Josh Hart in the final, just totally excellent. While we got a few people still on here, I want to remind everybody Wednesday night, Bernie Speed Shop. I want to say it's from 6 to 8.
Yeah.
They're going to have over 30 drivers signing autographs there. I want to say that's from 6 to 7. I'll try to get some more information from
Sounds
Breaking
about
Heart,
right. It sounds about right.
This week. Get it posted. Hopefully get a list of names that we can put on the page, so everybody knows who's going to be taking part. But I know someone who's always there, and that's Don Garlitz. You definitely want to get that man's autograph and stop by and see him. Hopefully John Forrest will be there as well. Really glad that John is still on the up, getting back to normal after his accident earlier last year.
Right.
But yeah, it's always a great time. If you got a car, you can bring it in. It's $10 to enter your car in a car show. They got live band. They're going to have food trucks. And guess what I heard today?
Talk to me.
Joe Costella actually had Brittany Hart on the show. And Brittany said that Josh is actually going to get on the drums and play there at the Fun Fest. So I've got to see that.
I didn't know Josh played drums. I didn't know that.
They said he is a good drum player. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay, I want to hear him do Disturbed Down with the Sickness. If he can pull that off on the drums, he's the man. Because that is a cool intro and a cool solo. So sorry, off topic.
But yeah, a really great event for everybody. And again, that's on Wednesday before the Gator National start. So that will be on the 5th. Sportsman will start on the 6th, and then pro qualifying will start on Friday, the 7th. Another great thing that happened today, the NHRA announced that they will have 4 qualifying runs for all pro classes at all their events in 2025. So they're bringing that back. I like it. It gives more opportunity for fans to see the cars go down the track. So I think it's a win-win for both the drivers and crews and the spectators.
Agreed. I like the opportunity for fans to be able to watch more of the professional racers, but also got kind of a feeling that it could potentially push out other racers, other classes, either due to television or whatnot. But it's this, you roll the dice no matter what. But I like the opportunity for more people, more opportunity to watch and to see and see. But I tell you, from now on, Shawn Reed, Mr. Excitement, that's his name. Because, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, behind the scenes, the man had the same style of excitement. And a
lot of enthusiasm.
Just a lot of enthusiasm. I'm like going, oh, my goodness, I like this guy. And just, like I said, talking about his history and things. And like I said, we want y'all to reach out and support him along with other racers. But, you can reach out to Shawn Reed on both Facebook and Instagram. But also you can Reed Trucking, like you said, based out of Washington. You can leave him a message or an email that way to get involved with his team. I mean, he's
go over to his Facebook page, Shawn Reed Racing, and like it, and that way you can see some of the things that's going on behind the scenes. I advise all fans to look up these drivers and follow them to see what their operations are like day in, day out, and behind the scenes at the track. Speaking behind the scenes at the track, Robert, we're going to be at the Baby Gators. That's happening this weekend at Gainesville Raceway. We have already got some lineups of some drivers that we're possibly going to be interviewing. One of those drivers is actually Joe Costella, WFO Radio. We're going to talk to him about Project Pontiac. He actually brought it out last weekend and raced in Orlando. Got down to 6 cars. Just an excellent outing for Joe. And I tell you what, Joe does a really great podcast himself. So I advise you to follow WFO Radio and check out that content.
Yeah.
But we're really looking forward to the Baby Gators and diving into sportsman racing, and of course next week. The next following week is the Gator Nationals. We have some hardware that me and Robert's got to hand out to some drivers. And speaking of which, one of them is a sportsman driver, Monty Bogan Jr., which actually won this past weekend in Orlando and is going to try to do it again at the Baby Gators and hopefully double up with a win at the Gator Nationals. So we've have an award for him, and it is the most what is it called?
I was going to say, you can't say most improved sportsman, but I think it's Sportsman Racer of the Year.
Yeah, Sportsman Racer of the Year. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, Sportsman Racer of the Year. And I tell you what, the man has definitely earned it. As far as our other categories, Pro Stock Motorcycle is Angie Smith, Most Improved Rider of 2024. Aaron Stanfield for Pro Stock, just done a tremendous job there. Funny car. Who did we pick for funny car, Robert? Can you remember?
Off the top of my head, no, because I remember it was Chad Green last year. I'm trying to remember who we talked about this year. Oh, I'm not going to say because I got two different names going through the head, so and then I can't remember off the top.
Top Fuel was Antron Brown, correct?
Right, correct.
We picked Antron Brown. Excellent comeback to compare to what. Where he finished last year to win the championship this year. And I'm trying to think.
I know I got the notes here. I got the notes here somewhere. It'll come to us. Don't, we got to preserve our brain cells here. It'll come to us. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, want to give a big congrats, like you said, to Monty Bogan Jr. for winning Comp Eliminator at the Orlando Points Race after winning stock at the All-Star Shootout there in Bradenton. So, and also he went out, I think he said he went 4 rounds in super stock at Orlando. I think he said he kicked it red. Can't remember. But anyway, excellent start to them. Also at the Baby Gators is the first event that has class eliminations for both stock and super stock. I really look forward to that. I get an opportunity to watch and to catch up with buddies. Bobby Fazio is going to be at the Gators. Okay. And Mr. McNeil Freeman will be another one we get to make contact with and catch up with him, including Pete Duco and other buddies of mine who I haven't seen in a little bit. So I really look forward to that. But also, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, thank you for following us on Facebook. You have, our numbers continue to go. Who's a funny car? Who?
Paulie. Yes.
You're right. That was one of the 2 names. That was one of the 2 names. So I was right in my head. I just didn't say it. That was one of the 2 names. But like I was saying, thank you very much to everybody following us on Facebook. As you continue to do that and support us, it helps tremendously. And also, we ask you to go and subscribe on our YouTube channel, On the Spot Motorsports Media. All these interviews are uploaded right away on YouTube, and also our Instagram page. And also, we've started the Spotify platform. So all the interviews are updated and put up on that. So all the way up to this one right now, which will be updated in a couple of days. So we ask you to go to support that platform also. And like I said, wanted to say again, thank you to Redline Synthetic Oils for coming on board this year, and also for Scorpion Racing Products for coming on board this year. They're great companies, American made, and they support racers. Sportsman racers, all the way professional racers, right down to regular Joes like you and I. So also thank you for supporting my Simpson Competition YouTube channel and Facebook page and Instagram. And but like I said, Mitchell and I have a lot going on behind the scenes. We're trying to get a lot lined out, which is working out. And if things work out the way we want, we're going to have some really cool, interesting people, get to learn a lot and just learn a lot behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I tell you, one of the greatest things is watching our interviews pit side at both of the Baby Gators and the Gator Nationals, and we're looking forward to also visiting some other national events this year, something that we haven't been able to do, but we're actually growing little by little and having these opportunities to bring you more in depth of what's going on with NHRA, and also trying to provide a little bit of information when it comes to NASCAR. So we try to put the schedules out of each track that they travel to, and some of the results from stages and from the overall wins. Hopefully, I have plans to start also reaching out to some of the ARCA drivers. Their schedules are probably a little easier than those that are up in the professional classes. And we'll try to get a few of those ARCA drivers on as well, because they are the future to move up to the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and then to the Cup Series. So, while we work on that, just bear with us. But I tell you what, we want to thank everybody who follows us, who watches our podcast, and please stay tuned, because we will be dropping some pretty cool interviews over the next 2 weekends from the racing events.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And once again, everybody, we appreciate all your support and help. And if there's anybody you want us to reach out to speak to, just reach out to Mitchell or I. And some people have done that, and we're getting some people in the works. Yeah. And we really do appreciate. What's that?
Yeah, you can reach us by messenger, or you can go to otsmotorsportsmedia@yahoo.com and drop us a line. Let us know. So that's otsmotorsportsmedia@yahoo.com. Yeah, I know it's a long email address, but could you imagine what it would be like if we had to spell all of it out?
Right. So that's what we're going to start referring to this as OTS Motorsports Media versus On the Spot Motorsports Media, which it is, just a little easier to say.
Yeah, just a little easier to type.
Rolls off the tongue a little bit easier. But like I said, everybody, we appreciate everything, and we wish you all the best. Until next time, y'all have a good night.
Take care, everyone.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.